This morning, I'm talking with Tania Davies from Tania Davies Interior Design, which is based in the Cotswolds. And she pivoted into this business, having previously worked in strategy within a corporate role for many years. And her background is actually in science. So, quite an interesting journey. So, good morning, Tania. Lovely to have you.
Morning, Lucy. How fun is this?
Very fun. Lovely to see you. So, let's kick off. What was the moment that you, I guess, felt that you wanted to pivot into interior design? And what was the sort of jumping point that made you pivot into that area?
I think it was a combination of necessity and also wanting to share the joy of great design. The company that I used to work for got bought out and restructured, and I needed to find some new work. And I live in the sticks and I have young children, and I didn't really want to be commuting back to London. I thought I'm just never going to see them. And I also always knew that great design made me feel good, both sort of like physically and emotionally. And I wanted to share that with other people. So as part of that sort of process, I thought I need to retrain and really almost for myself to not feel a fraud. I thought if I'm going to do this, I want to do it really, really well. So I chose Inchbold School of Design, which is the UK's top design school, thinking if I can pass there, then I must be okay. I'm not a fraud. So that's what I did.
So you went to Inchbald School of Design based in London,
Yeah.
and that was completely different, obviously, to what you did before. How did your learning at Inchbald change the way that you thought about design and sort of how you looked at design in your everyday life, I guess?
Okay, that's a big one. So you study for quite a long time. You study for 3 years, and I think the big thing that I learned about there that is that great design is about three things. And I like to sort of think about it as a Venn diagram because obviously, in my heart, I am a bit of a sciencey nerd. So three bubble sort of like diagram, and it's people, place, as in geographic sort of setting, and period of the house. So people, it's like the client's lifestyle, their aspirations, how they want to sort of feel in their home. The place is the geographic setting. So I live in the Cotswolds. If I'm doing a design here, it will be very different to if I was doing a design in a Docklands sort of warehouse. And then also the period of the house. It's not saying that it needs to be a sort of a pastiche at all, but it needs to have a gentle sort of nod to it. So, for example, if I was doing a Georgian house, I might sort of think about the Georgian paint colours that we used, or if I'm doing an arts and crafts house, I might be thinking about the type of handles that I might use on a cupboard. And when you bring the three things together, you really create a space that will resonate very much with the client because it's about their life. It's about the life that they've lived and the life that they want to live going forwards. And it also sits really comfortably within the geographic setting and also the period of the house. So I think that is the secret to great design.
And so there's a lot to learn
Yeah.
about, obviously, all the different types of houses, especially where we are both based in the Cotswolds, as you say, with a lot of period properties. And I guess a lot of those properties as well might be listed. So that
Yeah.
obviously restricts a little bit what you can and can't do, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's certainly with period properties, they come with their own sort of challenges. There are no straight walls, there are wonky floors, beams in funny places. So it's been really good sort of over the last sort of few years. I live in a period house as well to be able to take on that sort of like extra layer of challenge as well in my clients' properties.
I understand you're an architectural interior designer. What is the difference between having that architectural arm to your practice as well as the interior design compared with a sort of interior designer who wouldn't have that aspect?
So, interior architecture, if you take a house and turn it upside down and give it a shake and all the loose things fall out, what you're left with on the inside is the interior architecture. So if you're thinking that you want to reconfigure the bones of your house, if you thinking about maybe wanting to sort of move some walls, if you want a new bathroom, new kitchen, new lighting design, then you need somebody with architectural interior design skills. Interior design is like a layer that sort of sits on top of that, and that's the space planning for furniture, for sort of, I don't know, so like the soft furnishings, the textiles, the actual like fittings themselves, that kind of thing. So by bringing the two sort of skills together, you really sort of create sort of a cohesive design that functions perfectly for the client and how they want to live, and also aesthetically looks well, looks great. So it's an end-to-end sort of experience.
So you could advise on moving a wall potentially, or that kind of thing.
Absolutely. It's kind of I think my skills are kind of the skills that you would often have in a larger practice, and you would have an architectural interior designer and an interior designer, whereas I offer both of those sort of skill sets under sort of like one person. So you get that sort of seamless experience, but you also get it with sort of personal, sort of bespoke one-to-one attention as well, because it is me.
So you launched your studio in 2023. What did you do in the first sort of 90 days or so to gain a bit of traction, get some visibility, maybe put the feelers out on your first marketing strategies to gain customers?
So interior design is a very visual business. So the first thing I did was set up a website and set up an Instagram account. Because even when you haven't got a portfolio, you do need to start communicating your style to people, and also your values. So because I think that people do very much sort of like to, they buy you for you as well, in terms of in this kind of very personal sort of space. And my values lie around creative intelligence, guiding with clarity and sort of confidence, and also craftsmanship. I really like to bring sort of artisan pieces into designs because I think they bring real depth and sort of soul to a place. And after that, it was about getting out there. So introducing myself to architects, to estate agents, property sort of finding specialists, tradespeople, that kind of thing, to try and sort of raise my visibility. I'd say the mistake that I made in the early days was probably not being clear enough about what my niche was, what my sort of like what my brand was, and I think it was quite. I found it quite hard, even though I knew I needed to do that, to sort of see myself from the outside. Sometimes I think it's easier for other people to sort of to see you, and it took me quite a while to sort of figure that one out. And that one is, as I was saying sort of a short time ago, it's about the fact that I do offer this breadth and depth of skill set, but with a personal service as well. So,
I definitely agree with that. It's quite difficult when you're in the thick of a business every day to actually step back and see it with kind of external eyes. It can be really tricky. So, how did your prior commercial and business experience that you had obviously many years of help you to sort of think about your pricing, your pitching, and helping you in that whole sort of project management side of the business?
Pricing, I have three levels of service. I've got two which are a fixed price service. The first one is a home-based paint color consultancy service. The second one is a one-to-one online design consultation service. So effectively, you get me for an hour via WhatsApp, and you can sort of show me your space and you can ask me absolutely anything, space planning, lighting design, whatever. And it gives people sort of like real confidence to sort of get on with their own project. And those two are fixed price, and then I do a the full design service where I offer a range of things from sort of space planning to lighting design, bathroom design, whatever. And from that, you can we work together to work out a bespoke package for you based on what it is that you're actually looking for. And so then that pricing then becomes, reflects whatever it is that it is that you're looking for. The pitching side. I think having sort of worked in a professional sort of corporate capacity for a number of years, I am good at really hearing what it is that a client wants and then being able to feed that back to them. So to show that I have really heard what it is that they are asking for, and to be able to sort of clearly communicate how I intend to deliver that. I use Trello as a tool to keep us aligned. So I'll put out there, I'll share it with the client, and it has all the tasks that I'm doing, the tasks that they need to do as well to keep the project on track. So that's the first thing that I do, and it's great because it's something that's visible to everybody. And the second thing we do is we have regular meetings to touch base and make decisions, and that helps to really sort of keep us all aligned. But also ensures that they are over the sort of final decision making on things. So yeah.
That sounds very organised. I do like a Trello board. So what's your process for quickly getting to the sort of the real briefs? They might think they want, their kitchen designed in a certain way, but you can sort of, I guess, cut through the noise and see, actually, if you did this, it would create more space for you, or it would enable you to have a more practical kitchen working space. Is there something there where you can just sort of visualize the finished product in advance, or how does that work?
I wish, magic wand. No, the way the way it actually works is by being super nosy and asking a lot of questions. So no, in reality, the way it works is you do three things. The first thing is you ask the person to tell them about their day. So if we imagine that we're going to be doing, say, the ground floor of your house or something like that, we say 2 or 3 rooms, whatever. I will ask you how you live your day in half-an-hour increments, and we're going to be talking through real detail. It'll be I come downstairs and then I put the coffee machine on, and then I go and do this, and then I go and do that. And by understanding that level of granularity of how you like to live, I know that the coffee machine needs to be in this particular place, or you need to have your wellies by the back door because you then go and take the dog out for a walk and you come in and you take your wellies off. So it's a real level of detail of understanding exactly how you live your life so that I can put everything in the right place and to ensure that there are no pinch points in the flow around the house. The second thing is I count and measure everything. So if we were doing, say, the kitchen, I will be counting how many cookbooks you have. So my husband is a bit, loves cooking. He literally probably has about, I don't know, 100 cookery books. So if I was designing our kitchen, I need to make sure that we can fit this crazy number of cookery books sort of in the house. And it's that level of detail that really makes working with a designer sort of personal to you. And then the final thing I do is I ask tangential questions. So I think people find it quite hard often to talk about their style, to put that into words. And sometimes they'll use words that actually they think in their head it means one thing and somebody else it'll mean something else. So I will ask about what somebody's style is, but I'm actually slightly more interested in the feeling that you want from a space. Are you looking for it to be calm? Are you looking for it to be convivial? I will ask questions around what type of art you like, what type of food you like, where you like to go on holiday, travel. It's those tangential questions that actually tell me a lot about you as a person and your personality, as well as the previous sort of questions, which tell me how you like to live.
It's so much detail, isn't it, that maybe people don't appreciate,
Yeah.
that you go into that level of detail as an interior designer to really understand it's the people, isn't it? It's all about people and their personalities and their family, and as you say, their pets, etc., how they live, what they do, what their lifestyle is like. Yeah, it's fascinating. And everybody's obviously different. Every family is different.
Yes.
Um, so you've got the holistic approach. How do you balance your architecture with the lifestyle and the local setting, I guess, where they live, um, without sort of overcomplicating the solutions that you come up with? because I guess you've got a balance between all of those things. Like some people may need to have a wall removed in their house, but other people may not. Then you've got the lifestyle and personality that you just spoke about. And then you've got to look at the local setting and what's the aesthetic of the area, I guess, as well. So how do you sort of go about bringing all of those things together?
That's why doing really in-depth training, like training for a number of years on this, really makes a difference to the quality of the design that you can deliver. So when I take somebody's brief, we'll be talking for hours. As I said, I'm going to be asking a lot of questions, and I'm going to be counting and measuring a lot. I then come away and I do a lot of thinking, and I will summarize what it is we're going to be creating, say, for a particular room in 3 words. So I recently worked on a hall for a client in a Cotswold farmhouse. And the 3 words that we came up for this space, it's a really big hall, were artisan, welcoming, and then I think it was country colour. Okay, that's 4 words. But you get the vibe. And then from there, I will create a mood board. Now, I mean, a lot of people think mood boards, oh, it's like a load of pictures of furniture. It's not that at all. A mood board done well does not have any furniture on it at all. It's all about textures, colours, patterns. It is various images that convey the feeling of a space. And then I can show that to a client and they will instantly get the feeling for that space without me having to sort of put it into words. And that is a very early stage of ensuring alignment on that we're sort of like heading in the right direction. So for example, the mood board for this particular project it had some stone wall in it. It had some vintage wood because it was a period sort of house. It then had textural wools in it in sort of blues and greens sort of colorways, because that's how I was starting to think about the rugs and also we have a history in this geographic area of wool sort of farming, so we've got to have a slight sort of nod towards that. And then we had the colors, we had the art, so I had various pieces of art in there, ceramics, a beautiful sort of bright bunch of dahlias, and the colors, the textures, all reflected the warm artisan sort of welcoming country vibe that we wanted for this space.
Gosh, you painted a lovely picture there. I can picture the house, and I don't know it, but yeah, that sounds like really lovely and warm and welcoming, which was obviously, as you say, the intention. So what would you say is the hardest part of managing your clients' expectations regarding things like timelines, project budgets, and things like that? And how do you handle that early on to set the scene, I guess, with a client that this is how long it will take, this is how we're going to manage it, and this is what you're going to need budget-wise. All of that kind of areas could be pretty complex.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, because people don't renovate or refurbish their houses very often, so they don't really often have much of an idea about how much these things are going to cost. So in the initial meeting that I have with people, when I take the brief, I will also be asking upfront about budget. Because I do have some experience in this field, and I can straight away start to give them a steer as to whether or not their wish list matches their budget. So not only what they want to achieve, but also the standard of the level of the design that they want to have as well. And if there is a mismatch, then I do gently guide them, and I will highlight areas where maybe we can sort of focus on, and we can deliver, whether it's like delivering this particular room first or this part of a room first, and then we can sort of schedule the rest for later when they had sort of saved the budget. And the other thing, I suppose, just to sort of point out about budget before we sort of move on to sort of project timing, is people do think that interior designers are scarily expensive. And I think it's a little bit of a misconception that is out there. But personally, for like some of my clients, they always find that they get huge amounts of value from hiring me. It's not only in the decisions that I help them make, so making the right decision the first time. Also introducing them to brands that they might not have heard of before, that are maybe sort of niche brands that are at a really good sort of price point. But it's also about the amount of time and effort that I save them, that they're not there sitting on their phone scrolling of an evening, or spending hours at the weekend going back to paint suppliers, getting multiple tester pots, that sort of thing. As
Yeah.
regards the project scheduling, so I mentioned sort of Trello beforehand, that is super helpful. But I think it all comes down to good planning. I think the earlier that you can get an architectural interior designer involved into a project, it just means that we can sort of schedule everything. We can get all the trades booked in order. I mean, yes, you know, in any project, you know, things can happen, you know, delays can happen, but great planning means that, you know, ideally you've got quite a seamless project.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds really good. Yeah, my husband and I have done up quite a few houses over the years, over many years. So I've experienced a little bit of this, having builders in, walls removed, dust everywhere, etc. Not one, you know, sort of wondering how long it's going to take, but it's always worth it, and the outcome at the end has always been, yeah, much better. Um, so what does like client led look like on a sort of day to day basis? Because obviously you're the designer, but you need to also think about the client's input uh, and go with their sort of likes and dislikes as well. How do you manage
Mhm.
that sort of balance?
So at the end of the day, as you say, the client is at the center of the project, but they are paying me to design and deliver a cohesive design for them. So we spend a number of hours at the beginning of a project when we're talking about their aspirations for the space and sort of how they'd like to live. This is their opportunity to tell me absolutely everything, you know, literally get it all off your chest. Tell me everything that you want to tell me. And then it comes a point after that where I'll do a design and I will come up with a schedule. And after that, it's down to me to lead it. And the client, that's what a client is paying for. They're paying me to take that time and that stress off their hands. So this is all good. And then what I do as part of that process, I introduce a number of meetings, sort of stage gates for decisions along the way. So it could be, say, we are going to be deciding on furniture this week, and I will be providing them with three examples of the big key pieces of furniture. So say it was a sofa. I have done all the legwork for them. I've done all the research, and I have found three sofas that fit the budget, they fit the style brief, and I think that they're going to like. They then get that opportunity to go, right, of these three, this is the one that I want. So at the end of the day, they are still the ones making all the key decisions. I have just streamlined that process for them.
Mm, that sounds really good. I mean, you can be overwhelmed with suppliers now, can't you? And you don't necessarily know where to look for things. So yeah, I think that's a very, very helpful service for people. Um, so you've been in business for a few years. What have you found so far to be your most effective marketing channel? Um, you know, I think you were on social media, you mentioned your website. How have you found that side of things, marketing yourself and your business to get clients, and what's been the most effective tool?
So for me, I would say it's been two-thirds referrals to one-third website. I am on Instagram, but it hasn't really worked for me sort of so far in terms of referrals and things. I think I'm not a natural sort of influencer, sort of like kind of person. And I also think that interior design is super personal. You're inviting somebody into your house, into your home, and you're really hoping that they get you. So having a referral from somebody that you know, that you trust, I think is really helpful. And the second one is the website. I think a lot of people still search for lighting designer near me, and so people have found me that way. What I haven't done, this is something that I didn't do, and it's a lesson that I've learned sort of like recently, is I have not been great recently, not been great about SEO and AI search capabilities on my website. And I wish I had twigged that one earlier. And that is now something that I am working to address to raise my website's
Mm.
visibility.
Yeah, that's obviously a new area. I think you mentioned to me before that you were doing quite a lot of work in that area now, which will
Yeah.
improve things. But obviously, everything's changing so quickly with AI, and trying to
Yeah.
keep pace with it is
Yeah,
pretty difficult.
absolutely. Full-time job.
Yeah. So is there anything you wish somebody had told you about running an interiors business before you got your business off the ground? Like, so something that you think, oh, I wish I'd known that 2, 3 years ago.
Oh God, that's such a good question. Um, I think it's how important that marketing was, to be totally honest. Um, I knew already that running an interior design business was, say, whatever, 20% interior design to like 80% business and the like delivering of the projects and things like that. But it's particularly in the early days how important marketing is to raise your profile, to get your name out there, and then to also to keep that pipeline built. Because you don't really, in the early days, certainly it can be sort of very like that, very sort of lumpy. So yeah, it's definitely how much effort and time you need to sort of put into marketing and working out what marketing channel works for you. As I said, I'm
Mm.
not a natural Instagram sort of person. I think I'm probably a bit too, probably maybe too old, a bit too, I don't know. But
Not everybody
I
wants to
need
be
to,
on video.
I need,
Yeah.
yeah, I need to, yeah, do more marketing.
Yeah. No, I get that. Like, not everybody wants to be the other side of a camera on video, even though video, is popular, etc. But I think there are other methods, and referrals are great. If you can get business through referrals, it means that people have had a good experience working with you and they're happy to pass on your name, which is really the best thing you can get. So,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. So, Tanya, how can listeners get in touch with you?
Oh, thanks, Lucy. So my business is Tania Davies Design. So if you just type taniadaviesdesign.com, you can find me there, or you can email me at Tania, Tania, at taniadaviesdesign.com.
Fantastic.
Lucy, where are you going next? I mean, we've done this fantastic podcast. Who have you got coming up next?
Oh, well, I have a lady for April who has young children, and I met her through Cotswolds Networking, which is the networking group that I'm involved in. And she, I believe, set up a paint to pot business. Yeah, so pivoted from a career like many of us after having children, wanted to do something different. And so I will be chatting with her in April. I'm really looking forward to it. So
Sounds fun. Looking forward to it.
Tanya, thank you so much for talking to me about your interior design business. Absolutely fascinating. And good luck with the next stages.
Thanks very much, Lucy. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.